Hello and welcome to another edition of Santos on Sports. We are back, we are rested, and we are ready to go as football season is just around the corner. Along with my friend Chris Santos, I am Paul Santos. Welcome in. Shout out to our sponsors, Scotty's Pub, 202 Pleasant Street, Fall River, Citywide Glass, 3 locations in Dartmouth, Fall River, and Taunton. Lakeville Athletic Club, 325 Bedford Street in the town of Lakeville, and attorney John Seed Law, 156 8th Street in New Bedford. And you can check out his website at johnseedlaw.com. Chris, how's it going?
Hey, refreshed, Paul. Nice and refreshed. It's
Oh,
been a
man.
while. Hey, it's been a good summer. A lot of things going on, and I know we needed that, and got away for a little bit of time. And everybody was asking if we were retired out there, and I said no, not yet. We're still alive. We're just resting right now, and we got some of that summer fun and summer sun, and now we're back because it's right around the corner. Starts tomorrow night, the NFL.
Wow, it's always fun with the NFL, and I know the Patriots are going to be rebuilding and things like that, but I still find it interesting with the new coaching staff, the young players, the new quarterback, whether he plays or not at the beginning. How's all this going to come together? I mean, we haven't seen anything like this as Patriots fans in a generation.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. And, a lot of talk coming in about quarterback May and what they want to do with him, how they're going to handle him, what he looked like in preseason. A lot of people out there in the media getting the hype up. And Paul, I'm going to go out right now and say I think Mayo has done the right thing right now. And here's the reason why. I'm not stuck on that offensive line. I don't want to see this young man come in and get destroyed. I really think that get a veteran in there that maybe, can try to be a little bit more seeing the field a little bit better, get his feet wet first, and then let's see how it goes. If things can get a little bit better, maybe Mr. May can make his way onto the field after a few games or so, maybe midway through, and take a shot. But I just don't think they're ready up front to have him be where he wants to be in that quarterback situation. I don't want to say it's a Mac Jones type, but it almost is, I think, if you throw him in there, because I can just see him, taking some really big hits. So I think this is the way to go. And I don't know if everybody sees it the same way, but they're going with the veteran Brissett. Let's see how this offense flows just to get the start of the season rolling and then go from there.
Well, we're starting off in agreement, Chris, on this one. We didn't talk, and
Yes.
so we just put this, podcast together a few minutes ago, and I didn't want to know what Chris's view was. I was really interested to see what he was going to say. I agree with you 100%, Chris. I mean, I've seen some of those preseason games and, some of the practices, and they're not sure who's going to go where, and they don't have a left tackle, and, who's the guy going to be a tackle over here? Is he going to be a guard over there? And all kind of problems. And, to take this young quarterback and throw him into that situation. I mean, even Tom Brady, they asked Tom Brady about it, and he went down the whole list of all these quarterbacks, including himself. He kind of watched Drew Bledsoe for a while, and Patrick Mahomes watched Alex Smith, and, Rodgers watched Favre, and he went down the whole list. And he's like, hey, you know what? It's so different. College is so different from the NFL, especially where this quarterback didn't play as much as Mac Jones did either, on top of that. And Mac Jones had a better team that first year when the Patriots went out and spent all kinds of money, and you had Bill Belichick running the defense and all that. So I agree with you 100%. I mean, if he goes in there and he's under tremendous pressure and he gets sacked all the time and he doesn't know where to throw the ball and doesn't know what to do, I mean, his confidence is going to be rattled right at the beginning. And yeah, we don't want another Mac Jones situation where, maybe the quarterback gets ruined a little bit. Let him develop. This isn't a year that you're going to go to the Super Bowl or anything like that. So I agree with you. I think you put the veteran in there, let him get comfortable, let the young man learn, and then if the right time comes, maybe, and not even for sure, maybe you put him in later if you think that's the right move.
Yeah, I totally agree. And, people talked about, well, look what he did during preseason and some of those drives. But preseason is a lot different. It's not the starters on the other team in there. Maybe they're in there for one series and then you don't see them. I can't go by that. I have to go by what I know and what I've seen from this offensive line that they're trying to develop and get better. And besides Andrews at the center position, they are struggling at guards and tackles. And so, even if you think May was better than Mac Jones, even if you think strong around this, that, all kinds of stuff, but just to see him get hit and that confidence really get shot early from a young kid, I wouldn't want to see that happen to him. So I just think this is the way to go. I think they're playing it right. And so let's see how it develops and what the Patriots can do this season, which goes to the next question, Paul. What do you think the New England Patriots will do this year as a record-wise, with that schedule?
All right. Well, we have an annual project that we have here on Santos
Yes.
on Sports. We just take a couple of moments and we zip right down the schedule and we go win, loss, win, loss, win, loss. It doesn't mean we're going to be healthy each particular game, but it comes out to a general, a result at the end of the wins, losses. So do you want to do that?
I will be more than happy to do that, Paul.
All right.
I'm prepared for that.
All right. At Cincinnati.
Okay, so we're going to go there. They're losing game one.
Okay, I'm going to say they're going to upset them.
Okay.
I know that's totally stupid. No, I keep hearing about how Cincinnati's first game is always disorganized, and they always get upset in that first game, and we're not sure if the receiver's going to play, and bad. So I'm like, hey, really, what I'm thinking is maybe they'll win one of the first two. So I just figured, okay, I'll pick Cincinnati. So I'm going to say Seattle home loss.
Now this one I'm going opposite. I think they're going to not look good against Cincy, and everyone's going to say, "Oh, the Pat." Then they're going to come home, and the defense is going to do something, and I think they're going to take this one.
Okay, so that's a split in the first two. So at least you're in the same ballpark. All right, at New York Jets.
Okay, so when the division comes, I think they're going to lose every game in the division except one win, and it's going to be against the Jets. I don't know which one it's going to be, but I think they lose 2 to Miami, 2 to Buffalo, but they beat the Jets once. So I'll take is this one home?
This is on the road.
All right, I'm going to say a loss.
All right. Well, it's interesting that you say that because we haven't got down the list yet.
Yep.
But my thought was out of all those AFC East games, I thought they were going to lose all of them, but maybe steal one against Miami.
Okay, so but I got one. My one is the Jets.
Yeah, right. Similarly situated, lose 2 to Buffalo, and then grab one of the other 4. Okay, yes. So I'll go with loss there. Okay. The 49ers.
All right. We got a loss there.
All right. Home to Miami. Actually, I'm trying to remember. Maybe I have 2 losses against Miami.
Okay.
Maybe I did do the split with the Jets after all. All right. Anyway, I got a loss in this Miami game here.
Okay. So do
I. You too. Okay. Home to Houston.
All right. This one here. This is the one that had kind of me a little bit on the edge. So I'm going to go with a loss here because I like the way Stroud played, and I think they got better by getting Diggs.
All right. Me too. Now at Jacksonville.
At Jacksonville. Nope, I have that one as a loss as well.
All right, me too. Let's see. New York Jets at home.
That's the one I like for the win.
Okay, and I got a loss there too.
So that's my 2 wins right now.
Yeah. 2. Tennessee at Tennessee. I have a win for that one.
I have a win. That's my 3rd.
Oh, okay, all right. At Chicago.
I'm going to say no to this one.
All right, I got a win for that one too.
Okay, I'm going to say no on that one. In the Windy City, they struggle.
Imagine that, 2 wins in a row. Maybe I had to go back and redo this thing. All right, let me see. Home to the LA Rams.
The Rams, no, that's a loss.
Loss. Okay, at Miami, another loss, right?
That's a loss.
Okay, Indianapolis at home. I'm going to say win.
I got that one. I will take that one.
As a win?
I mean, I'll take the Patriots.
All right. Well, that's a couple of times we're right on the money here. Okay. This one I'm a little torn about, but at Arizona.
I'm taking the Patriots.
Me too. I got them as a win. All right.
That's a winner.
Okay. At Buffalo.
Loss.
Okay. Home to the LA Chargers.
I like that one. I think Harbaugh struggles. I think Hebert's banged up, and I think he's going to get banged up during the season. I'm going to take a win there.
Okay, and then a loss the last game of the season against Buffalo.
So that gives me 6.
Yeah, me too. 6-11.
That's what I got.
All right, then let me just look here. I'm just going to circle here. There are 1, 2, 3, 4 games where you and I have the Patriots winning the same game. They would be at Tennessee. Now, Tennessee was 6-11 last year.
Yep.
Home to Indianapolis. Indianapolis, a 500 team at 9-8.
Yep.
Arizona was 4-13 last year, but the quarterback's coming back. They drafted the wide receiver. I don't know. They're going to be better. And the LA Chargers were 5-12 last year.
Okay.
So those are 4 games where you and I are on the same wavelength. And let's see, Mark Sylvia. Oh, speaking of the Windy City, he's like, no chance they win 6. No chance. He says.
No chance. Mike thinks they're not going to win a game. So he's got him over. I already know that out of him. But listen, I need 5. I need 5 wins out of this team, and I will be satisfied. So I got to stay positive. Mike's going to say 4.
Well, okay.
I got 5. I'm hoping that he misses one, or a defense really steps up, or another team and someone gets hurt and gives me a chance to get 5.
You know, we have a first here on Santos on Sports, Chris. We have somebody watching from the Philippines. So shout out to Marif from the Philippines. Thank you very much for looking in here on Santos on Sports.
Well, hello, Marif. Well, welcome to the show.
All right, Chris, the moment that you have been waiting for. I say good evening. Nelson from Fall River, you are on Santos on Sports.
Welcome back, fellas.
Yes, how are you? Hey. No, we did not retire.
How's your summer, Nelson?
You know, before I get into the whole Patriots thing,
yep,
the damn Baltimore Orioles are still lingering around.
Ooh.
Listen.
You cursed it.
Listen. Let me tell you something about that team. They got themselves some hitters. If their pitching comes through the way I'm hoping and they stay strong down the stretch, they can make a run. It comes down to their pitching. The bullpen has been killing me all summer. And so we started with Kimbrel, got rid of him, put him down there, and now we picked up Dominguez, and Dominguez has had some rough outings. But if that bullpen can shape up, they'll be right where they want to be down the stretch. So, they're going to make either the division or the wild card, and I'm sure the same with the Yankees. So it's going to be a fun October, Nelson. Stay tuned.
Well, Chris, as you know, is a big Baltimore Orioles fan. And I follow the Red Sox. I watch the Red Sox, and it's been painful watching them blow game after game. But they played Baltimore not that long ago, and I'll watch Baltimore here and there. But, as a Red Sox fan, I'll just put the Red Sox on. I watch that Baltimore Orioles. What a lineup they have. Every single player has got 15, 20 home runs, high on base percentage, a good glove. But right up and down the lineup, I got to tell you, Chris, I was impressed with that Baltimore Orioles lineup. They are nasty.
Yeah, like I said, they can hit from Gunnison to, when Holiday was up, and, Rauschman and Santander and a few more. But, this second half has really been come down to pitching. They picked up Burns for a reason. He's had some difficult starts recently. We need to get his, game back up. I hope he doesn't have a dead arm. We're going to see what that looks like. And the same thing with the bullpen. That's what's really hurt them, where they've lost a lot of games in the 7th, 8th, and 9th. And if they can find a way to find something down the stretch, they made some moves. They picked up Eflin from Philly, Dominguez from Philly. So let's see if they can turn it around. To me, the Yankees have been so, and Nelson will tell you, they look great there at the start of that second half. And then all of a sudden, the bats got really quiet. And, we haven't heard from them in a little bit of time. So, Judge is going to do what he does, but this is where the other boys have to jump in. Stanton's got to be big, and the rest of them to go with Soto if they really want to catch on fire.
Well, this is where the Red Sox come in. They're not going nowhere. So they need to make use of the season that they have left and defeat the Baltimore Orioles and Tampa Bay Rays. The Red Sox need to do their job. That's what they need to do. They need to do their job.
Just to irritate Chris. Just for that would be enjoyable. But, while we have on the line, we want to talk a little football over here.
Yes. You must think Belichick's coaching because it's do your job. But Belichick ain't coaching the Red Sox.
How many games the Patriots are going to win?
Yeah, how many games? That's the question of the night. What do you say?
it's like the shape of a Boston cream donut. Zero.
No,
Zero.
come on. No, they're not going to go.
Absolutely
They're not going to go.
They're not even going to win
No.
one game.
All right. I say 3 the most.
3 the most.
No. Wait a minute. That's not really I don't think that's really a legitimate prediction there. I think that's kind of a rough prediction.
He's predicting 3.
3.
He's got 3 wins.
That's it.
So they're going to be 3-14.
Yes, look, I'm setting the bar. I know they're going to do better than the Dallas Cowboys. That's what I know, at least. But yeah, 3.
3.
But, hey, if it's less than 3, my God, you guys are going to be in store for a long drought. I'm telling you.
So you're going to wait a minute.
Drought.
So you're going to be California drought. Well, are you going to be like really enjoying watching the Patriots struggle with all these obnoxious Patriots fans for the last 20 years?
Listen, this has been a long time coming for the Patriots fan base. They've been spoiled for all these years with all the gates, Deflate Gate, Spygate, all that's come to an end, and now the reality is setting in.
All right, real quick. You're a New York guy.
For a long time.
You're a New York guy. So how do you think the Jets and the Giants are going to do? Do you like one of them more than the other, or you just kind of root for both of them?
Aaron Rodgers, I don't know with him. he scares me. He's like it's like drama season with him. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully he stays on the field this season.
Mm-hmm.
Does not get injured. But right now, I would have to say the Jets are better than the Giants.
All right. And how do you think the Giants are going to do?
Better than the Patriots. Anybody is better than the Patriots. It's going to be one of those seasons where you can't wait until the season is over. Look, don't drive over to that stadium. Don't waste your gas money. Just watch it from home. Save yourself the barf and the stomach bug.
Oh, man. He's Nelson. We haven't talked to Nelson, and he's really hitting us hard over here, Chris.
Listen, I'll tell you, if he leaves Fall River and drives to New Jersey to watch the Giants, he's worse than New England fans who are going up to Foxborough. There's no way that the New York Giants are going to be even close to being anything good this year. Not even close.
Oh, we'll see. We will see.
Not even.
For the Jets, though, yeah, I have more faith in the Jets. Yes.
All right, we shall see. Hey, Nelson, thank you very much, and we hope to speak to you again soon.
Guys.
All right.
Thanks, Nelson. Well,
Let's
Cliff
go
Gonsalves
to-
came on.
Yes, I see that.
He talked about the Orioles, and he's right. The bullpen has been harsh. And he says they're lucky to win 4. Chargers improved this year, and they lose all division games. Now, we think they're going to lose all but one. They're going to find a way, I don't know, to sneak out one division game. But we're kind of close with Cliff. I mean, we're on 4 and 5. We're right around there. Mark's around the same thing. Nelson's at 3. So nobody's going for big wins this year, Paul. But we're all staying around the same.
It is true. The LA Chargers were a big disappointment last year at 5-12. You got to figure that they may be up in the 500 range, right? I mean, they should be better.
Well, new head coach, depends how their game plan is. I mean, are they going to use Heber in a different way? Are they going to use the run more? Is their defense even going to get even better? Because they've had a pretty decent defense, but they've lose some games in that second half and give up some big points. So, they're looking for him to come in and right the ship. So let's see how Harbaugh does in his first year.
Okay, let's go to Ryan from Rochester. Good evening. You're on Santos on Sports.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Hey, good to hear from you. How are you?
Doing good. Tired from double dipping, working at school, and I'm at Staples now. But here we are.
Well, so you got a good work ethic. That's something to be proud of.
Oh, indeed, absolutely. I wish I could say the same good sentiments about the Patriots season.
You know about Chris's bet?
Yep, 5 wins or more, and I don't see a scenario where they get there. I've got them at 2. Do you want me to go through them?
You got them at 2?
All right, so Paul,
All right,
write that down, Paul. Write that down.
Let's make it easy. Which 2 games are they going to win?
Write that down, Paul. 2 wins.
So I've got So the two wins I have them getting, it's the Jets week 8 at the one I'm going to, because I feel like they're going to take at least they're going to take a single divisional game. It's going to be one against the Jets for whatever weird reason.
Okay.
Yep. So that's also the one I'm going to.
Okay.
And the other one, as much as I wanted to chalk this up as an L, because I like what the Cardinals did this offseason, signing Jonah Williams, getting Marvin Harrison Jr. in the draft. I think they're going to be better, but I feel like they're not going to have enough horses to be at least a 500 team. So I think the Patriots might take that one too.
So they beat the Jets and then add Arizona.
At Arizona, correctamundo. Yep.
2.
Man, that's a dire prediction. That 2.
Oh, you were cringing when Nelson said 3. Now Ryan's saying 2.
Hey,
oh yeah.
Hey, our good friend Chris Santos, he's done pretty well with his game. I don't think he's he's Gamblers Anonymous or anything, but he put a few bucks down, and then he built up a little pad there, and he's taken like that guy Jeopardy James just kind of went right in with the whole thing. He's taken the whole thing and put it in on the Patriots winning at least 5 games.
Got to win 5.
Yeah, well, go ahead.
Suppose they win 4 and then there's a tie somewhere. Does that count?
No.
Has to be 5 wins.
Got to be 5.
So this is going to be good because I'm going to be watching the Patriots, right? And if the Patriots have a lead and blow a game late or something like that, he's going to be more upset than I am.
The reactions will be funny, to say the least.
So, Ryan, what are your thoughts on?
I'm hoping. Listen, here's what I'm thinking. You have to admit, Ryan, their defense is not that bad.
Oh no, absolutely not. The defense isn't bad at all. I think it's going to be.
So here's my thing. So if you have a veteran quarterback and your defense can force some turnovers or force some good field position, maybe a veteran quarterback can find a way to make some things happen just enough to win some games. And like I said, figure out how to win 5. That's what I'm hoping for, because I don't think this defense is that bad. That's why the only reason why I'm saying I hope they can get 5.
Oh, the defense is 100% not the issue. I think that's going to be like the main bright spot once again this season. And you make a good point about Jacoby Brissett, the veteran quarterback. But my thing is, it's the same reason why I don't want Drake May out there at all this season. It's the fact that everything else around him on offense, the tackles, the receivers, Javon Baker and Jalen Polk, those are to be determined. But all those unknowns, it's just atrocious. So I don't see them even it might be another situation like say the Chargers game, for example, last year, where sure they only let up 6 points, but they scored 0. You know what I'm saying? And it's like I've just seen so many people chalk up just guarantee Seattle, that's going to be a win. But you do realize people, do you I know Mike McDonald's a new head coach, but he was one of the nastiest defensive coordinators this past season. And also, are we not seeing the talent gap? And that's my main too. The talent gap is just going to be so gigantic across the board, across much of the schedule. I'm not sure the fact that you're going up against a rookie head coach or only a guy in his second year or a select a roster that's only slightly better. I don't know if that's going to give you an advantage there.
Ryan, Hall has them beating Cincinnati on opening day.
That's a bad pick. I'm sorry. That's a bad pick.
I mean, he comes right out and says, first game, oh, yeah, they're winning game 1.
No, you know why? Because if you look at the history of Cincinnati, for whatever reason, they always have a hard time in that first game, and nobody's expecting anything. And, I don't know, just some weird feeling I have. But, obviously that's a little bit of a Hail Mary. But, every once in a while, a Hail Mary is caught. Not too often, but every once in a while. Ryan, real quick before we move on to the next caller, what do you think about the coaching staff? And I can ask Chris too. You got a rookie coach, Gerard Mayo, never really was a defensive coordinator, went right from linebackers coach right to head coach. Doesn't seem to have the command of the situation the way Bill used to. You got Alex Van Pelt, AVP, was kind of like the last guy standing. Do you worry about this coaching staff?
Well, the thing is, it's the same thing with the roster. I'm not going to worry about it yet. If we're talking 2-3 years down the road, and it's still and if it's a cluster, then that's one thing. But like you said, he's a rookie head coach. It's a rookie play callers on both sides of the ball. They're all in new roles. This is what a rebuild's going to look like. Rookies across the board, just kind of building each other up in a way. And in Gerard's defense, I will say this: sure, he never had a defensive coordinator by title technically, but we all know how Bill was at the end. He refused to give out titles. And so in a way, just based off like everything I read from Albert Breer, Tom Curran, Phil Perry, he was a linebackers coach. But by trade, he was almost like a co-defensive coordinator of sorts. But of course, Bill was nepotistic, so he let Steve Belichick call the plays. But he was just as involved in the game plan. And like I said before about Van Pelt, I like the hiring. Like I'm not jumping up and down for joy saying, "Woo, we got the next Sean McVay" or anything like that, because he's not. But he's a former quarterback. He's been around the league. He's been around multiple systems. Namely Mike McCarthy's West Coast and Green Bay, along with Kevin Stefanski's Gary Kubiak style stuff. So I kind of like I'm hoping for like a mixture almost of Mike McCarthy's passing concepts along with Kevin Stefanski's running concepts. And now it's probably not going to look good this season because, again, the roster is atrocious, but give it some time.
All right, Ryan, thank you very much. We have you down at 2-15. I don't know if anybody else is going to go lower than you. You might be the lowest predictor out of all the people that are predicting. We've got 3, 4, 5, 6 there, but 2-15. I've got this down right here on the paper, so at the end of the year, we'll see where everybody lands.
Shooting for the stars, man.
All right, Ryan, thanks a lot.
Thanks, Ryan.
No problem. Good talking to you guys again.
You too.
All right. We mentioned the Patriots playing against, let's see, trying to get over here. They're going to be playing against Chicago.
Yes.
At Chicago, and I have them winning and you have them losing. So I know a guy who we really should ask this question to. Mark from Chicago. Good evening. Mark from Chicago, you there? Okay, well, I guess we lost him during that call. We'll get him in just a couple of moments. I'm really interested to see what he has to say. I think
I want to know if he's going to the game.
He had 4 wins up there before.
Yeah, but I want to know if he's going to that game.
Well, I hope he does.
It's at Soldier Field. So.
Yeah.
I hope.
Well, I don't know. What do you think about the coaching staff?
Well, as Ryan said, being a linebackers coach, I think he had more to offer than that. And I think Bill knew it, and Bill probably used them in some other ways just as much. So if you're talking about the defense, you're definitely talking about Mayo running that show. Now, with Van Pelt coming in and what he's seen from Van Pelt and what he wants from him and run a style or an offense or a system, he's going to rely on him a lot more. I'm sure he'll have the final say on a lot of things, but they will talk and try to work it together. But defensively, I see that being all Mayo.
All right. Shout out to Lisa Corrido. Thank you very much for looking in here on Santos on Sports. By the way, if you have a prediction, just type that right in there. We get Steve Lewin has 5 wins. Cliff Gonsalves.
Cliffy had 4.
5. What does that mean?
No, Cliffy's got 4. He says they're lucky.
Oh, I see.
We'll be lucky to win 4.
Right. And
right. And we know Mark said 4.
Well, you mentioned Mark, right? Mark is back on the line. Mark Sylvia from Chicago. Good evening.
Good evening, fellas. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. First of all, before we get to the Patriots, they're going to lose by 30 to the Bears. That's all I got to tell you.
Oh,
see that? 30 to. Are you going to the game, Matt? You got tickets?
Yeah, we're going. Yeah, taking my boy.
I told you he was going, Paul.
So who are you rooting for?
Well, rooting for the Patriots, of course. My kid will have his Mac Jones jersey on with masking tape on the back that says May.
Oh, man. So you really think you've gone down the list and you think that the Patriots are going to win 4 games?
Well, okay, 3 or 4.
Okay.
However, I'm going to put an asterisk behind that. Can I put an asterisk next to my?
Sure. Why not?
Okay.
And I say that because if they eventually put May in, that's got to be worth something. So one of those close games, I think they maybe win because Brissett's a bum. So let's get that out of the way. So if Brissett plays the whole year, I mean, I'm going to give them one divisional game just because, I think the Jets. I mean, I don't have a lot of faith in the Jets. They're always due for a clunker. And then I think you get, Indianapolis and Tennessee. I think maybe you get one or two of those, and then Arizona. I think the Chargers are at home, right?
Yes.
It's at New England.
See, I think the Chargers are going to be a tough team this year, but it always depends, right? If they play at the end of the year in Foxborough, you don't know what kind of weather you're going to get. But I think you get a divisional win, Indianapolis and Tennessee, and then maybe one of the Arizona or Chargers game, and there's your 3 or 4.
Pretty depressing, isn't it?
Well, it is. But listen, I was home twice. In August, and all I did was listen to the sports radio, and oh my gosh, that was even more depressing.
Yeah,
I can't tell being home and in a car listening to the radio. I can't tell if the Boston sports writers are on board with Mayo or they're not, because it seems like it just goes back and forth.
What do you think about him?
It's tough to say. The thing that's discouraged me, because I was with Chris early on, I said, hey, I put my money on over. I think they're going to win 5 or 6 games. But you got to look at it this way. And I said that because I felt the defense was going to carry the team. And they had a solid defense last year. Well, you take Judon and Barmore out of the mix. That's pretty tough to replace.
Yeah, those are the top 2 guys right there.
So, and then, I don't know, Gonzalez didn't have a fantastic, training camp, although I think he's going to be a game guy. I think when he's in a game, he's going to lock people up. He's maybe not the best practice player. But again, hit the rewind button and listen to everybody's comments from last August. Offensive line, offensive line, offensive line. We're still talking about it. I mean, that last game against Washington, and they didn't even have their starters in. Offensive line was terrible.
Do you think it's good? And I think Chris and I already gave our opinions. Do you think it's good to start with Brissett while the team kind of grows and gets organized?
It depends. I mean, I look at it this way and I go, listen, I don't remember the specifics, but like Troy Aikman, Peyton Manning, those guys played their whole rookie year with a terrible team. And I think both of them, Chris, you'll have to correct me on Aikman, but I think they both were terrible. The team was, I think Manning won 1 game. So part of me says, hey, you got a stud rookie, you let him play. But the other part of me says, but that offensive line is so freaking bad. And you brought in Brissett to be the bridge guy. Let it play out the way it's playing out,
If you're Caleb Williams, yes. If you're Daniels, possibly. But I don't think so if you're May, because I think those 2 guys are better than him. As much as Aikman was good at that time, and so was Peyton Manning at that time. So I think it depends on the quarterback you have, Mark, to make that decision. And I don't know if May is there or that kind of guy to put him in right away. That's the only thing I think about. If it was a number 1 pick and like a sure thing, and at that time Aikman and Manning probably were. That's why I say that. And I think Troy was 2-14, if I'm not mistaken, in that first. I'd have to look it up. I'm not sure, but that's the only reason why I say, I'm not going to start him right away. I'm going to let Brissett go and just get a feel of how this team really looks, and then maybe make adjustments on the fly.
All right. Well, it sounds like it's going to be a long year.
Well, listen, again, we talk about money and the same thing with the Red Sox and these guys not spending cash, right? They still got tons of cap space. You have to ask yourself, the Bears were different because the Bears had probably the worst entire roster in the whole league. And then they decided they're going to tank to draft Williams, and then they spent money like everywhere else. And I think they rebuilt the right way. And I'm not saying this is what they should have done because it still would have cost them some money. But if you're going to sit May out the entire year, and you want to win too, like would Baker Mayfield have been a better option than Brissett? You know, Cousins would have cost you some money. But, like, I feel like because Brissett really is, you know, Brissett's I mean, he's Brian Hoyer. He ain't any better. He is a true backup, and he can fill the gap, but you ain't going to win games with him. So, you know, part of me says they should have spent a little bit more money and get a competent starting quarterback. There were a bunch of them, and Tannehill's another one. You know, I think you would have been better off doing that. I will tell you, I like the young receivers they got. I think they'll grow and get better. But I just think there's no way around it. This year is going to be tough, no matter how you slice it.
Well, why not spend money and shape up that offensive line if you think it's that bad? I mean, go after it and try to get something in there to go along with maybe a lower tier quarterback like a Tannehill or someone.
I don't know who was available. I don't know who was available via free agency.
Yeah.
Right.
But, I mean, in giving them credit, you know, they drafted a couple of guys last year. I don't know. It looks like start. You drafted 2 guys this year. Hopefully the kid Wallace can develop into something. But yeah. I'll tell you, you know, we talk about Belichick, and we've all been putting these down years on Belichick's shoulder. How ironic. 1 year removed from Belichick, Mac Jones, and I know he's the backup, he had a pretty damn good spring if you saw him in any of the preseason games.
Hey, what do you think about that, Chris? He's going to be backing up Mahomes.
No Trevor Lawrence.
Signature win that was at Florida State, number 10 in the country. So maybe this thing that it is, maybe it was Bill. Maybe it was Bill.
I don't know, man. Those last couple of years, I mean, we're talking about 4-13 last year. I mean, that was rough with Bill, the greatest coach of all time, 4-13.
Yeah, that's what you're saying. What I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
I know.
And I listen. I don't want to say anything about the Red Sox. The Red Sox stink. You know, I part of that is management. Part of that's Cora. You just re-upped Cora. You know, it's the same old garbage with that guy. But Reds 78 wins, and they might not get that. They were at 12 games over 500 3 weeks ago.
You know what's frustrating about the Red Sox? I put the game on. A lot of times I'll turn it on like second or third inning because we're doing stuff around the house, and they always have the lead. They always have a 3-4-0 lead in the first inning, and the starting pitcher is doing all right. Bad bullpen. How about this guy, Sims? What a bum this guy is. He blew like at least 5 or 6 games right off the top. And even missed a twitch at the end. He's not what he used to be either.
Oh, those are the guys they got at the deadline.
I know.
And the kid Sims. You know, all I know is when I see you in the stands with your kid, I go, oh, shit. This is going to be a tough game. But
actually, they won the game I was at.
hey, in other news,
yes,
best pitcher in the league right now is Chris Sale.
Oh, I know. I saw that.
Well, I don't know if you saw. He leads the league in wins, strikeouts, and ERA.
Now, would he have done that if he stayed with the Red Sox? It just feels like something would have gone wrong.
Well, listen, I think we all could have seen you had no bullpen.
Yeah.
And, oh, by the way, if you look at Crawford and Houck in the second half of the year, they all reached their career high in innings before the All-Star game.
Right.
So you knew those guys were just going to get burnt out.
That's
so the Red Sox got to get some big pitchers in over the offseason or they got no chance.
He will be National League Cy Young Award winner.
Well, he should win hands down.
He's going. Yeah, I cannot see him not being it. I would be shocked.
I mean, there's going to be people, Chris. There's going to be some people that vote for the rookie out of Pittsburgh, you know, but it ought to be Sale in a landslide.
I totally agree.
Before I let you go, Mark, you know, I'm watching the basketball men's team in the Olympics, you know, and you know I'm watching that, you know, and I'm like, you know, this guy Tatum, you know, we really don't need him up there clanking clutch shots, you know, clank, 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 like I saw during the regular season. So what they do, they send Steph Curry up there, and it's like swish, swish, clutch, swish, KD, clutch, swish, you know, LeBron, and I'm thinking, thank God they didn't stick that bum Tatum in there to blow a last-second shot. I've seen enough of that during the regular season.
I'm watching the games going, hey, there's Paul with his it factor sign, Hey, I'll tell you what, though. If you're Tatum and all those guys, listen, all those guys have egos because they're at the top of their
Of
profession.
course they do. Yeah, I know.
He has got to take this. I mean, that has to have been like insulting to him. Like you hear people go, well, who's going to come out and they got to play. It doesn't matter. The fact that he sat 2 games without a single minute, that had to have been eating the heck out of him.
But here's the problem.
Tatum,
all those other players are better than him.
There's no doubt. You know me. I'm in your camp on this one. But
I will
tell you, Brown's the guy. That guy's going to come back with a vengeance.
Well, we'll see. All right.
They're going to repeat. You can book it, guarantee it right now. The Celtics will repeat. That I know.
As long as I don't go to the game, right?
Mr. Guarantee, put it down.
Mr. Guarantee, another guarantee.
Celtics will repeat.
Coming out of retirement.
Another guarantee. Oh, that's the kiss of death.
No, mark my words on that one. We can guarantee that one. The Celtics will repeat, and that's all we got going for us.
I don't know, Chris. I think that's the kiss of death.
All right. Well, hey, I got to get running, boys.
All right.
Hey, do all your viewers a favor. Let's stop going 5 weeks without a show.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate that. All right. Thanks very much. Mark from Chicago.
Okay, buddy.
All right. Let's see if I can do this correctly. Butch from Acushnet. Good evening.
What's going on, gentlemen?
Hey, Butch, what's going on? Butch called me when I was on the radio a couple of weeks ago. That was a lot of fun.
Hey, you guys are doing a great job. What's going on? How about them Red Sox? Huh?
Oh, he goes right for the jugular.
No, I remember calling in early spring, and I predicted, my prediction was that they would not make the playoffs based on a couple of things that I think it's kind of panned out that way, although there are some bright spots. One, I thought that their starting pitching was inadequate, which I still believe that it's inadequate. I believe, though, that there is some serious potential there for some of those guys would be some very strong bullpen guys. I think that our starting pitching, early on was very good, and then it kind of faltered. But a lot of those guys would look good in the bullpen with maybe Houck not. Maybe Houck could start, be a legitimate number 2 somewhere, but they need help on the mound. I thought that their defense was atrocious over the entire year. They've had some good players make some nice plays, but overall, their defense has lost some games for them and put some of that starting pitching and bullpen pitching in some very bad places because they just can't give. You can't give these professional hitters, 4 and 5 outs. So I thought their defense let them down. I thought their bullpen let them down. There are some bright spots, though. I thought that their second base, their shortstop and center field, that's Don Raphael. What a player he is. He plays some of the 2 hottest positions on the field, and he plays them very well. He's struggling right now with the bat, but he is a young kid, and it is at the end of the year. And then Duran, I think, had a fantastic year. Abreu in right field is another bright spot. So they've had some things that have really kept them in the hunt, I think. At least for the wild card, but it's disappointing that that this is the kind of team that the Red Sox, who generate so much revenue, put on the field, a borderline team. That's what I'm disappointed on. Price of tickets hasn't gone down. Certainly, Nesson hasn't gone down yet. The quality of players that we have, for the most part, in the bullpen, and even our starting pitching is less than adequate.
I thought they met some expectations leading to the All-Star game and maybe just a little bit after, where they were right there at the wild card. And now they've given it up to Kansas City and actually Detroit, who's making a little bit of a run here lately. But for the Sox, and Mark alluded to also, you're taking into account pitchers on your staff who, by All-Star break, had the most innings they've ever pitched in Major League Baseball. And now you're asking them to extend beyond that, which is something that's kind of, difficult for them to do. So we don't know how live their arms still are. And again, you didn't have Casas at the beginning. Story's still been out. Juggle here, juggle there. So there were times with what he had, I didn't think Cora did that bad, and made some adjustments to get them into at least position. But since that point, the defense, as you said, hurt. The bullpen is hurt, as Paul alluded to earlier, and that's where their downfall has been. So, they're not that bad. I just think they're, just a here piece here and there, just away from really making that next big step.
Yeah, I agree with you. They're not that bad. They're not that good either.
Yeah, but that third wild card, it felt like, they should be able to make that third wild card. I mean, since the All-Star break, it's like they're losing 2 games for every one that they win. Terrible.
Yeah. If it's not defense, the offense can't hit. If they hit, they can't pitch. Chris made a couple of points. I agree that their rotation and their bullpen, with maybe the exception, and I don't even want to say there's an exception. I think what kind of position they put these guys into was an experiment all year. We were hoping that they could perform like major leaguers and win 87, 88, 89 games, right? Or 90. But it was an experiment, and right now he's right. It's delayed their end of the season. People are starting to get some fatigue is starting to set in. And these young guys just haven't, been able to be managed enough because, the high ERAs and the runs given up. And the defense really, I think, has prolonged innings for these guys over the year. That, they're just on that, below the mid-level teams, which is kind of a shame. But there are some bright spots, like I said, but it's kind of unfortunate because it is the Red Sox. But I like the players. I like Cora. I disagree with the last caller that Cora is an issue. I don't believe that he is. It's just unfortunate. We can see what happens next year, but if they do not improve their starting rotation, it's going to be the same old story. We've got to get better at defense too. We can't have, the amount of errors, and there was some terrible errors in the first half that just extended innings. And I bet you they lost 10, 12 games with poor defense.
Paul, I'm chuckling here because a relative of our caller has said that the Red Sox ownership does just enough to give a fan hope. And that's what they're doing to Butch Ferreira right now. They're giving him just a little bit of hope. And somebody named Lucas Ferreira is the one that's giving.
I was trying to find the words, but somebody, I don't know who that is. I think I might know now that you just said that. Yeah.
I got to tell you, I feel like a sucker, right? When the Red Sox were like, say, 2 games out of the third wild card, then I go to 3 games, then I go back to 2 games, then I go back to 3 games. Baseball's every night. That's the thing that's funny about it. I put it on, and there's a game there every night, unlike the other sports. And it's like 2 games, no 1 game, no 3 games. And I'm a sucker. I'm thinking, if they can just win like 5 in a row, they'll be right back. Yeah. I just feel like so used by this team. All they had to do, if they just spent a reasonable amount of money, right? Yep. They could have made up these 3 or 4 games and been right there for that third wild card. I just don't want to do it. It's too bad because I like some of those younger players. You mentioned Duran. What an exciting player he is. And, Saydon and some of these other guys. Now, wait a minute. Before we let you go, how many wins are the Patriots going to have in 2024? I got my pen right here. I want to know what it's going to be.
Well, mark it down. I'm a man of my word, and I'll call back when I'm wrong. But I just don't see him winning more. If they win 5, that'll be a success for them.
Chris hopes they win 5. He's got money on the table.
Stay with me, Butch.
All right, so what are you going to say, 4 or 5?
All right, we're gambling, right? That's why they call it gambling. I'm going to say 5, but
All
I
right.
should say 4.
All right, 5 and 12. So that's going to put Chris, who's got a couple of bucks on the line here, just over the line. All right. Well, I think it's going to be a long year for the Pats. What do you think about the decision to play Brissett instead of the new young quarterback Mayo?
I don't know. I mean, I don't. I don't know. I mean, I thought he looked good, but preseason games, you really can't get a good gauge on what's going on. You have to trust that Mayo and his team of coaches and general managers and that type of stuff have an idea. I don't know. I think they want to. I think they're protecting him. I think if this was his second year and he wasn't a true rookie, he'd be thrown out there with the Wolves. But I'd give Brissett a chance, and that's I don't want to. Brissett, he almost got hurt in the preseason
Yeah,
game.
I know, I saw
it's
that.
not going to be long.
I saw
it's
that.
not going to be long. May's going to be in there, so we're going to see him. So it really doesn't matter.
All right, Butch. Thank you very much for calling.
All right. Then.
All right, we'll talk to you soon. It's interesting about whether or not to put in the young quarterback, and we did have somebody say here, Cliff Gonsalves,
Yep.
that Aikman, and I don't even remember that, but now that you say it, it's like, wow, Aikman was 0-11.
Yeah, I had him at 2 wins. I couldn't remember, what it was. I'd have to research it up, and that was back in '89.
And Manning, 3-13.
And Manning was only 3-13. So again, you have such a high-profile player in those two guys, and I can see why they went right in right away. If you're telling me that Drake May is like that, then okay. You go in and do it. I just don't know if he is that kind of caliber. You know what I mean? So it's feast or famine. It's okay. Yeah, let's give him a shot. Or maybe we're not doing it the right way. Maybe we should wait on this and make sure we have all the pieces the way we want it before we do it. So it's a real tough decision, Paul, because you drafted high for him and you want good things to happen.
But you make a good point, because our hope is that he'll turn into a great quarterback or a very good quarterback or even a great quarterback. Who knows, right? But maybe he's not at the level, say, like Peyton Manning, right? Peyton Manning was the number 1 overall pick. Everybody knew he was going to be good. They put him in there. He could kind of learn on the job. So there's probably certain players that can do it that way. But maybe, like you said, maybe May is not one of those guys.
Yeah, I'm not sure yet on that. And and I'm going to see what happens when I see Williams and Daniels to see what they offer. When they go out and play. But I don't know. I just think it's a stretch if you started him. So I still think Mayo did the right thing. But, opinion's opinion.
If you look at Lucas Ferreira,
yes,
you're doing this whole thing here, right? Lucas Ferreira is thinking, oh, boy, this is going to be a disaster. He thinks that if they win 3 games, he'll be shocked.
Yeah, listen, the sad part of it all is Lucas is usually over my house on Sundays, and we're watching the Patriots together. I love to have him by my side, and you know what I mean, and we'd be pushing each other, hoping they could get 5 wins. But I'll deal with him. I'll talk to him on the phone, and he's down in South Carolina, so hopefully he'll be watching as much as I am, and hopefully he can root for me and find a way to get 5.
Whether they win 4, 5, 6 games, and you and I actually are the most generous in our predictions of all the predictions that we've had tonight.
Yeah.
I mean, if they win 4, 5, 6 games, whatever it is, right? I just hope they're competitive games, because you can go 6-11 and lose a lot of games at the end, and you're like, oh man, maybe we're just a few players away. Next year we have another good draft. Maybe next year we open the wallet, get some free agents. Maybe Drake May gets in there. But if you're getting blown out with no answer for anything, then that's when it can really get discouraging.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there, Paul. I mean, it just makes perfect sense. And, the Patriots organization has been so good for the last, 20, 25 years. And everybody's seen, obviously, how it works and how it goes. And so when you have these rough outings and these tough times, it's how do we regroup? And how do we regroup fast, Paul? And the reason why I say it is because they're not used to losing in the last 25 years. So they want to see that quick turn. And that's very difficult to do as you know. So they got a long way to go. And let's see how they start, week one and then just roll with the punches.
Lucas Ferreira reminds us too statistically
Yep.
that generally one out of all these first round quarterbacks ever even make it to a second quarterback, to a second contract. A lot of times, you look at all these, you're going to take this guy, you're going to take that guy, this and that. And then 2 years later, 3/4 of them that aren't even playing in the league anymore.
That's why it's so difficult, unless he's, did Drake May show you anything at NC that made him like the most outstanding quarterback out there and say, wow, this guy really has to be a guy and we can't wait to, start him. It's not a project, but it's a development, and that's hard. And for him to go out there right away, I think you have to be really, really something special. I just think the Patriots did it right. Whether they win or lose, they did it right by playing Brissett.
Right. And actually, at the time they picked May, you were like not really that hot on that pick, right? At that time?
No, not really. I wasn't as confident as, maybe some others were. I thought they needed to really boast that another position. I would have liked to seen Harrison on that team and really start there and, kind of work with that, draft another quarterback after and do some different things, whether like what Bo Nix, who's going to be starting for Denver, was down the stretch, Penix, who was down later on in the draft. So I think they could have done it a little bit different, but that's their decision. That's what they're going with. So we'll see how it all turns out.
All right, here's how it sums up here. Predicting 7 wins. Lisa Corrido, who said she may be a little bit tipsy.
Whoa.
But she is going to pick the Patriots to win 7.
Lisa, what do you want? What do you want right now, Lisa? What do you at the tipsy seagull? What are you drinking there? I mean, what's going on? 7 wins? Whoa! I'm praying for 5. I'm not 7. Whoa!
Yeah. All right. Paul and Chris are doing a generous 6. At 5 is Butch Ferreira and Steve Lewin.
Yep.
Let's see. At 4 is Cliff Gonsalves. Yep. At 4 is also Mark from Chicago.
Yep.
Lucas Ferreira is at 3. Oof. Nelson from Fall River is at 3. And pulling up the rear with the most dire, depressing prediction of them all is Ryan from Rochester, who has them at a solid 2-15.
Listen, Nelson had him at 0. You convinced him to take that 0 back.
Yeah, I mean, imagine, you have to figure too. You go through a long season, right? Maybe you catch a team with an injury. Maybe you catch some kind of a day where they're having a bad day and you have an unusually good day. So a lot can happen. That's why I'm thinking, like you and I went through this win-loss. They may win one that we thought they lost. They may lose one we thought they win. So over the course of the season, you got to figure that this team's going to get a few, like in the 3, 4, 5 range in there. I know you're hoping for the 6 and the 5 and the 6 and all that, but you have to figure some of these teams. There are quite a few teams here that aren't very good. There's a lot of them that are real good. They're going to have a tough time, but I don't know. It seems to me that they should be able to grab some wins against some of these lesser teams.
Well, I mean, that's what I'm hoping for. And as you said, Paul, week by week, you have no idea what it looks like on the opposite side. People can be injured. People can get hurt. There can be a lot of different things that go on. Now that first string is out. Other people come in. Turnovers, especially when you're on the road. Tough to win on the road. And, I think some of these teams still see New England, as an organization that would want to turn things around quickly. I'm not saying playing them, they know, this is our Super Bowl, nothing like that. But, they want to play up when they play New England. That's for sure.
All right. Well, let's see how it goes. I know Chris will be sitting on the edge of his seat throughout most of the season. So you're going to be rooting as hard, if not harder, for the New England Patriots than the Dallas Cowboys.
Well, let's not get carried away, obviously, but there's games that I've written down. There's 8 of them, and those 8 games are really the ones that I'm going to be focusing on to say I can get 5 out of these 8. So I'm prepared for that. I know when it's going to be. I'm sure my buddy Butch will be over the house watching it, and you, Paul, may make an appearance once again down here to the man cave to watch the New England Patriots.
I think, Chris has the man caves of all man caves. I mean, this thing it's like a museum over there. It's just really, really great. A lot of fun. Well, anyway, we'd like to take the opportunity to thank our sponsors, Scotty's Pub, Citywide Glass, Lakeville Athletic Club, and attorney John Seed. I'd like to thank our callers, which would be, let's see, Butch. We had Mark. We had Ryan. We had Nelson. All the people that commented on the comment line here, Lisa and Cliff and Steve and the other people that chimed in here during the course. We have somebody, Marie from the Philippines. Thank you very much for that's a first. We had somebody from the Philippines, Steve Lewin, and so forth. So thank you very much. We appreciate it. And Chris, football season, it's going to be exciting. It's going to be a lot of fun. Something about football is just so entertaining. You know, even the games that are not your team, if you put on the game, it's a close game, and you know there's rivalries, and we know the players, and we know the quarterbacks, we know the coaches. It could be, you know, watching Aaron Rodgers, for example, play for the Jets if he can stay healthy. You know, see what happens with Buffalo this year. See what happens with Dallas and Philadelphia in the NFC. You know, how's Mahomes and Kansas City going to do? Are they going to get, you know, is it going to be hard for them to get up and try to get to another Super Bowl? You know, all kinds of fascinating things going on. And by the way, the greatest quarterback of all time will be in the broadcast booth, and he's going to be a color commentator. And what is the first game that they assign Tom Brady but the Dallas Cowboys game?
Incredible. Dallas at Cleveland, and there's going to be Tom Brady doing that game. But hey, Paul, how about a special shout out to all the high schools in the area?
Yes.
Same thing, getting their seasons going. You know, good luck to all of them, from New Bedford to Dartmouth to Vogue to Fairhaven. I know, Paul, you cover the Indians. I'll be covering the Bears and the Whalers and do some of them games. So good luck to all the high school seasons in football this year as well.
You know, I'm thinking, right? Yeah, absolutely, 100%. In fact, we got a Dartmouth staying game on Friday night. That's always a fun one. So we're looking forward. And Dartmouth should have a good team this year. They got a lot of really good players coming back. And Andy Hart, who we interviewed here on Santos on Sports, he is now on in the afternoon at WEEI and is a full-time afternoon announcer going up against Felger and Maz. They're really going hard for the afternoon show. And his son, Jackson Hart, plays on Dartmouth Indians. So congratulations to Andy for being in that really good afternoon drive spot. And good luck to the Dartmouth Indians this year with quarterback Jackson Hart. Yep. By the way, you know, let's say there's a late game, right? And so now, you know, Dallas has the ball and they're down by 3. And Dak Prescott is coming down the field. Yep. You know, could they go like, hey, timeout, Tom, can you, I know you're 50 years old. Can you come down? Can you come down and give us a fair shot here to win this game? Dak, you know, a little shaky there, you know?
No, they're going to say, just get us to the 20 and kick a field goal and tie the game. And then we'll win it on our defense in overtime. And then we'll make you look like a hero. But no, definitely needs to have some it factor down the stretch if we have any chance to go far in the playoffs, which he has not done. I as a Cowboy fan, and I know some of my friends know this, I've said this from the beginning, I do not think Dak Prescott is the it factor on this team. And so I'm dying for him to prove me wrong, but he has not even come close yet.
All right. Well, it's great to be back, Chris. It's great to be chatting with you. It's always fun to talk sports. We had a great show today. A lot of people calling in, a lot of support, and we hope to talk to you again real soon. For
Thanks,
Chris Santos, I am Paul Santos. Have a great night, and go Patriots.